Hi everybody, this is Alchemist2 and I'm back again with another movie review. Yesterday, Dad and I went to the cinema and we saw The Descendants, which is produced by George Clooney. And the only other person that I recognized right away in it was Beau Bridges, and he plays the role of one of the cousins involved in the in the film. The Descendants is a very true to life movie, and I could relate to it personally since 4 years ago I lost my mother to uterine cancer. The circumstances that surrounded her death were not so eh, frantic or hostile as these, and I have to say it seeing this film makes me glad that I didn't have to go through what they were going through, but it does teach a lesson, and it's all about what death is truly about and how little we understand it. And it's an existential movie. It's profound, and the interactions and dynamics between the characters are multi-layered, just like people actually are in reality. Um, it's about a man who works for a law firm, and his aunt, I believe, she was or it was grandmother. I don't know if it's aunt or grandmother. I'm sorry. Forgive me for not being correct on this, but I think this is the historical part of the film. The only part of the film that was actually true and happened in real life. His grandmother was the last living descendant of King Kamehameha the First, and she was supposed to marry a cousin, but she didn't. She fell in love with an English missionary, Mr. King. And I do believe this happened, and if anybody can tell me if this is fact, please do, because my Hawaiian history is very, very rusty. I do know who King Kamehameha was. I just don't really know that much about the foundation of Hawaii as a state and etc. Uh, I I did think that the movie itself was very intriguing, and having been through it and seeing my dad adjust to life as um, my father, as Matt said in the beginning, he said, "I am the backup parent, the understudy," and it's true. He is, and despite all that, he does his darndest to rear his girls right, and he's got Scotty, the youngest, with him, and Alex is at a I guess you could call it a facility for I guess it's rehab. I guess it was rehab where she was sent, and he has to go and pick her up, and um, she's out of control, and she swears and she flips him off, and she tells her father that her mother can go screw herself. She doesn't say it like that though. It's much nastier. And she has her reasons for saying that, and I'm not going to say why, because that would give away a chunk of the plot, and I really don't want to do that. But as far as films are concerned, though depressing, and though I cried quite a bit throughout this movie, because I've been through it personally, um, I can give this movie 3.5 stars. I thought it was a solid film. It moved very quickly and it kept your interest, and I liked the characters, and the little girl who played Scotty, I was just like my father in thinking that she had to have some method acting to pull off those lines, and she was very, very convincing. She was terrific. I didn't know who she was, but the casting, it was well done, and I really think that they did a tremendous job, truly. Um, mm, I'm not sure what else to say other than I liked Sid. I thought that Sid was a very intriguing character because he seemed to understand what was going on before the girls actually did. And he seemed sort of like a stoner type in that he was kind of touched in the head, as we say. Um, though he might have seemed ignorant on the surface, he truly wasn't because he got it. He understood what was going on, and he was actually more mature than the girls were. And it's just a very thoughtful film, and I think it is also a teaching movie, and it has good morals and values presented within it, and just shows you how you shouldn't act in a situation like that. And of course, the whole plot point is that um, Matt, he is one of the owners of a rather large parcel of land in Kauai, which is absolutely stunning. And it's weird, but like Dad, I just thought that Hawaii would be prettier than what it was presented in these pictures. But no, he says in the very beginning when he's narrating, he says people think that we're on a permanent vacation, that we have no pain or feelings, or cancers aren't as worse, or cancers aren't so bad as yours. And there's a lot of truth to that, that people think that since people who live on islands don't have the same problems as everybody else because they live in such pristine conditions. No, that's not true. They're human beings just like anybody else, and they share the same difficulties and tragedies, turmoil, tribulation, and troubles. Sorry for the alliteration. But it's true as anything else is in life, and there were just a lot of moments that were transcendental in their setting, and of course the music. I love Hawaiian folk music. It's very touching, and there's almost something kind of sorrowful about it in its way. It's sorrowful and happy, but still very, very lovely. It's a good movie. I would think if you're a George Clooney fan to go see it because it makes a lot more sense than Ides of March did. Although Ides of March I think is a very thought-provoking film, and it gives you what I call brain fodder to sort of mull over and really think about. This is another one of those movies that'll stick with you long after you've seen it, and it represents life as a transition, and the whole thing it gets to the crux is what is most important. What what is what does it all mean? Basically, that's the whole question. That is a very that's philosophy 101, my friend. And of course, there are end of life questions that are poised that would be just fantastic conversation starters for ethics classes, I think. And I think that ethics classes in the future can benefit a lot from this movie. It really gets the conversation going, and it makes you think about how little we truly understand about death itself, and it's really not something to be feared. And even though it looks scary, it's not. It can be very peaceful and actually quite lovely in its way. And I experienced that, and I've been blessed. I didn't get to see my mother die, but the one thing I remember the exact time because after I had left the cinema with my friend, it was about 4:30 p.m. and I felt like there was just this burden that was lifted off of my shoulder. I cannot describe it in any other way, shape, or form. And it just felt like this pressure was completely removed. There was nothing else that I could ask for, and it was just like my mom was saying, "I'm fine now. I'm where I belong." And of course, when I called Dad, he had told me that she had died. Um, it's been 4 years. I know I mentioned that before, but it doesn't really feel like that. And yeah, I do miss her from time to time. And yes, the holidays are a little bit different without my mom around, but I still feel her presence. And I think it's the same thing with this film. They could still feel the presence of their mother even though that she was gone. They still had the blanket at the very end. And I thought, oh, that's such a great symbol because the quilt, if you know anything about quilts, they represent togetherness and family, and every stitch sews everybody together. And I thought that was a very um, interesting symbol, and I liked that symbolicism at the end. I don't know if anybody else caught on to that, but it also had yellow and white. And if you know anything about colors, yellow is the color of happiness, and white is the color of purity. So I thought, huh, yeah, that makes sense. But I didn't notice that until now, and I thought I might as well bring that up because it was so very striking to me, and I thought it was very thoughtful and ingenious to put that in there. The Descendants it's a good movie. It's enjoyable, but if you're wanting to go to see a movie that is something that will make you laugh, well, forget it, because you're not gonna laugh in this movie. You're gonna cry your eyes out. But it's a good movie nonetheless, and a very pedantic one at that. And it's enjoyable. And I don't know if Mr. Clooney will get any awards for it or not, but it's still very well done, and it's based on a novel. And like I said, I'm not really sure if the history presented in it is correct or not. I'm thinking that it is, but I don't really know. If someone out there is from Hawaii and they can tell me and correct me, then please do, because I would love to hear that. So, if you go to the cinema and you're looking for a movie to see, then, well, if you like George Clooney, then definitely. The only thing that kind of got under my skin a bit were the close-ups of Mr. Clooney. Now, I love George Clooney's eyelashes as much as anyone else, but really? Come on. I mean, he's a beautiful man, but stop it already. That was the only flaw it had. Then that's it.